everybody. So we have been learning all about the country of the United States of America. That's where we live. And you see this map right here behind me? This is our map of the United States of America. We have so many amazing, beautiful things we get to look at and learn about in our country. Well, remember, our country, the United States, has 50 states that all together make up one big country. What state do you live in? Well, I live in the state of Georgia. So I am going to put my star that says I live here on my state, the state of Georgia, right there. Now, let's see what else we can learn about in our country today. Let's see. When our country first started, it started out as colonies. Do you remember? Do you remember learning about a certain group of people that sailed across the ocean on a boat called the Mayflower? The Pilgrims, yes, the Pilgrims sailed all the way across the Atlantic Ocean and they landed in Massachusetts at a place called Plymouth Rock. We're going to put our Plymouth Rock right here in Massachusetts. And that's where the Pilgrims landed, and they began that state in Massachusetts. In fact, our country started out as 13 states all the way down the line. These were the very, very first states. And then we grew and grew and grew, and we went even further west. Well, let's see what else happened after Plymouth Rock. After Plymouth Rock, I think we would find something if we went to New York. Look at that. You see the state of New York right here? Well, you know what we'd see if we were outside the state of New York? The Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty goes right here on an island off the coast of the state of New York. And when we've learned about how immigrants from all over the world, they come and they look and they see the symbol of freedom that is the Statue of Liberty. Well, you know something else that we would see if we were in New York would be Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls is a huge waterfall that all the water comes from Canada into New York, and a huge, beautiful waterfall. So we're going to put Niagara Falls right up here on the coast of New York to Canada. Isn't that pretty? Let's see, you know what else we'd see if we were over here? We could see the U.S. Capitol. Look at that. See, the United States Capitol is a city, Washington, D.C. Can you say Washington, D.C.? Yeah. Washington, D.C. is the capital of our country, the United States. And it is right here in a small city in between Maryland and Virginia. So we're going to put our Capitol building right there. And with our United States Capitol, there's lots of monuments that we can go see in the country's capital, like the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, one of the tallest monuments, and even the White House where the president lives. All of that is in Washington, D.C. Well, not too far from Washington, D.C. is the state of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was also one of the original first 13 states. And we can see the Liberty Bell. The Liberty Bell is in Philadelphia in Pennsylvania. And that's another symbol of our country. It's the Liberty Bell. When they rang it, it sounded out and people could hear it and they would say, that reminds us of freedom. And that is what the United States stands for. Well, what if we were to go a little further south? All the way to Florida. Well, in Florida, we have the Kennedy Space Center. Look at this. It's a rocket. It's a spaceship. The Space Center. See, NASA is located right here in the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. That's pretty neat, isn't it? Now, from Florida, what if we were to travel west? This way. So if we were to travel west, we would see Alabama and Mississippi. Now, Mississippi is Mexico by the state of Mississippi. Now, what if we were to go a little bit further? Oh, what state is this? It's Texas. Now, some really cool things happened in Texas, like the Alamo. Have you ever heard anybody say, remember the Alamo? Well, remember, our country started out as 13 states, but it didn't stay that way. And more people understood that we wanted freedom. And they would go and they would settle and they would explore and they would say, we want to be part of the United States too. And that's what happened to the state of Texas. And so they fought to say, we're going to have our freedom too. And so we're going to put the Alamo right here in Texas. Just closer to right there. There we go. In Texas. Now, what if we were to go even further this way? I think we would see Arizona. Do you see Arizona? Well, in Arizona, we have the Grand Canyon. What in the world is a Grand Canyon? It's like a really big trench that you can see, and it's huge. And it's found in Arizona. There we go. Now we're making our way all the way west. But what if, what's even further west? California. California is even further west. I think we need to remember something important that happened in California, like the Golden Gate Bridge. How pretty is that? You see the Golden Gate Bridge is right here in California. Boop. There it is. So we're going to put that there to help us remember. It's in San Francisco, California. Now, can we go even further west? No, that's the outside. That is the furthest west we can go. We have the Pacific Ocean on the other side of California. But you know what we can do? We can go north. And you know what's north of California? Oregon. In Oregon, we see Crater Lake, which is a really neat national park up here in Oregon. And you know what else we have in Oregon? Let's see, what's even further than Oregon? What about Washington? And we've got islands and we've got lighthouses in Washington. Yes. Oh my goodness, it is so neat up there. How pretty. Well, do you think we should go further north into Canada? No, maybe we should travel back east and see what else we could learn over here with the rest of our country. Because you know what comes next? If we're going to go east, we bump into Wyoming. Well, Yellowstone National Park is in Wyoming. And Yellowstone National Park is home to some famous geysers. They're like, they shoot up into the air with the water that's underground. And one of the geysers is called Old Faithful, and that means that it shoots up at the same time because it's faithful. That's why it's got its name. So here's Yellowstone National Park right here in Wyoming. I wonder what would happen if we went even further. You know what I think we'd see? South Dakota. Some really cool mountains are in South Dakota, especially one called Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore is a mountain that the president, lots of years ago, had carved with faces of the presidents. Isn't that neat? So you've got one mountain that has 4 presidents on it. You ready? You want to see? Let's see. You can't really see it in this picture. Can you see? We've got the president's picture of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. All 4 of those presidents' faces are carved into a mountain. And that is in South Dakota. It's pretty neat, huh? Let's see, is that the only thing that we can find? I don't know. I think maybe we need to go a little bit further to talk about, maybe we need to go a little bit further north. But what's north? What's north? Canada would be north. Do we have any states that are even further north? We do. We have a state that is so far north, we can't even put it where it goes in the map. We have to put it way down here just so that we can reach it. This is the state of Alaska. Yes, see, Alaska isn't actually an island down here in the water. Alaska is way up here connected to the country of Canada. But it's a state of the United States. And we have Mount Denali. It's a state park in Alaska. Well, speaking of states that aren't really connected to the mainland, what about the islands of Hawaii? This is another state. And once again, this state isn't really right here next to Texas. No, these islands would really be way over here. Like way over there. But they're islands in the Pacific Ocean. And these islands were made from volcanoes. And they have a Volcano National Park. Is part of the Hawaiian Islands. Remember, the Hawaiian Islands are a state in the country of the United States. So we're going to put our Hawaiian National Park right there. Isn't that amazing, boys and girls? All the really neat places and things that we can learn in our country. So no matter where you are or where you put your star, you can travel and see all of the neat things that make up our country, the United States of America.